And welcome to the New Leaf podcast today. And on the episode, we have Hayley Rabbets, who's the head of the Verve Foundation, and really doing amazing things for new advisors joining the industry and looking to build their own businesses.
We basically exist to do great things in the financial services profession.
So we're going to look at how an advisor will use the Verve Foundation to help build their business, their practice.
So we've got two main initiatives, our Advisor Incubator. We get a lot of breakaway advisors, they've been swallowed up by the consolidation trend. They want to do things their own way, helps businesses kind of move on, 2 or 3 years old, ready to make that leap to the next stage.
The second thing we're looking at is what challenges does an advisor have as a new entrant into the industry? Look at the numbers, think, wow, I want some of that. That's great. I want to help people and do.
Yeah.
This is really exciting. It's new, but then your diploma's done, your induction course is done, and then you're at home.
Yeah,
exactly. And the phone isn't ringing.
Right.
And you're thinking, hang on, what's going on here? And finally, how the Verve Foundation have helped build a community for budding financial advisors in our industry.
And the beauty of the Verve Foundation is it's not just us giving sessions on stuff, that is a great part of it, but it's the community that's built around it.
So, hello, Hayley. Great to have you here with me today on the Leaf podcast. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
And we're here to talk about Verve Foundation.
Absolutely, yeah. So Verve Foundation is a not-for-profit. We basically exist to do great things in the financial services profession. We've got various different initiatives and things, and long-term friends of New Leaf.
Yes, so we're very, I think, quite privileged last year, especially to be one of your Incubator sponsors.
Yeah.
And obviously, a great thing. And we'll get into this in the episode, is that you're working with a lot of new entrants to the industry, and that new talent coming in, and that was something that we found quite commendable, and we wanted to get involved with, given that New Leaf is all about new people as part of our strategy as a business to help new people in. So when someone comes to the Verve Foundation and they want to use your services, how do they approach that? What are you doing to help them?
Yeah, so we've got two main initiatives. So the one that you guys have very kindly backed is our Advisor Incubator. So this is for usually established advisors who are looking to open up their own business. We get a lot of breakaway advisors, they've been swallowed up by the consolidation trend. They want to do things their own way. They want to do it on their own. And so we support them in figuring out which route to go to start with. So we have a consider program for those who are thinking, well, I want to do it on my own, but absolutely no idea which way to go, whether that's network, DA, how to set up, all of that kind of stuff. So we cover that off in our initial program. We then have a build program for people that have taken that leap and they know which route they're going, but they then need to build, funnily enough, the foundations of their businesses in the early days. So we cover off things like business planning, regulation, proposition, fees, the great fee debate of every single year that we've been doing it.
Yep.
And then they can graduate onto our brand new Grow program, which helps businesses kind of move on 2 or 3 years old, ready to make that leap to the next stage. And that kind of talks them through that. Our other initiative is all around the new talent, so bringing in brand new people from outside of the profession. We get sponsorship again, and we help to fully fund people's diplomas. We also teach them about the profession, all of the different roles that they can do, how to network themselves, how to really kind of stand out and get themselves a role in the profession.
It really is like an A to Z process, isn't
Absolutely,
it?
yes.
And I like what you said briefly there. I think some people don't realise this, but actually you do help experienced advisors as well. It's not just brand new people, because like you said, consolidators now, or have been sort of quite active, and that has led to a lot of people losing their identity and losing what they stand for. And I think you're able to help those sort of advisors as well to bring back that identity and understand what their business might look like going forward.
Yeah, I think also sometimes it's helping them to figure out what that is, because they've maybe been in a firm for a number of years, they've worked under that brand, that proposition, and they don't really know what they want it to be, but they know they want it to be theirs. So we help them from the very first session kind of sit down and go, what's my why? What makes me get out of bed in the morning? What is it that I want to build? And what does the future of my business look like? Rather than just a frustrated advisor making the wrong decision and leaping when actually they might want to go into an employed role, but just in a different environment. So the Consider programme, we get a variety of different people. Sometimes it's people brand new to the profession and want to set up on their own. And other times it's more experienced advisors kind of wanting to figure that out.
Are you finding there's a change in the type of advisor that's now joining the industry? For example, at New Leaf, we're quite proud that we have nearly 50% of our advisor force is now female. And I think that's awesome. But are you seeing that more and more with people now joining the industry, that more women feel like it's acceptable to enter?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So within the advisor incubator, I think that's probably a little bit more tricky because we're quite often attracting existing advisors. And we know that the statistic, I think last time was 16, somewhere between 16 and 18% is quoted quite often, but still a really small percentage of women. So we're kind of recruiting people from that existing pool. But within the Consider programme and within our programme where we kind of attract new talent and get people in who want to join the profession, that we've got, I think it's like 70% of that whole cohort is women. And they're very, very interested in a career in finance because they have the natural skills and abilities to coach, they have empathy, and they're seeing it more and more as a career that works for them around, family life and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm seeing a massive increase in the amount of women wanting to come in, but not so much in terms of, moving on and opening their own businesses.
Okay, that's an interesting point then. So with that in mind, obviously opening a business as a new advisor especially, I know that's incredibly difficult for most people to do that. So what does a person need in terms of their characteristics that you feel they need to succeed?
So going back to what I was saying before, I think they really need to believe in what they're doing and almost for that longevity, for that resilience, because it's super hard to set up a business on your own, particularly if you're doing it completely on your own. So you're a solo advisor. I've seen some people do this, go DA, not have that support that you get from a network, and they've fallen apart because all of a sudden they're on their own, they've got all of these pressures. It's no longer about being a great advisor, it's about also being a great business owner. So I think to really understand why you're doing it and to be able to look back on that when you're thinking, oh God, what the hell have I done, is really important. So to have that vision, that goal, and that resilience, really, to keep going when things maybe aren't going the way that you thought they would.
You're absolutely right. You've got to be resilient. But also the problem you have as a business owner is it's not just giving advice, right? You're head of marketing, you're head of administration, head of power planning, head of finance, head of partnerships, and they're all full-time jobs in their own right. And it's really hard for people to understand they have to go on that journey when they get started. And I think that's what's really good about what you're offering with the Verve Foundation is you're able to teach them and give them insight onto how to run a business, which is unique. And people do need that support, don't they?
Absolutely. I think also the pressure of, the advising bit is what brings the money in. So you have to make sure that you're still seeing your clients and you're generating those leads and all of that kind of stuff whilst also building a business. So we always try to equip people by making them think very realistically about how much money they're going to need in the bank to do this to start with, and then also what their support network is. And the beauty of the Verve Foundation is it's not just us giving sessions on stuff. That is a great part of it, but it's the community that's built around it. And it's other solo advice owners helping out other solo advice owners, people who have been in that position, giving their kind of words of wisdom and telling them in no uncertain terms, like, this is hard, this is what I've been through, this is what I've learned. But now that we have such a strong community, I'm seeing that it's much easier for people because they're getting some of that insight and that support. But we always say to people to think about that kind of support network when you get started out.
I know, obviously, from our experiences working together as a sponsor as well, you've been a great advocate for New Leaf, which I thank you for that. I mean, do you feel a network is a right place for a new entrant?
Yeah, it's become a lot more difficult recently to get direct authorisation.
Yes, yeah.
Understandably, that the FCA are very risk focused, and they're looking at whether someone is a great business owner, if they're looking at the risks, if they're great with compliance, then not really looking at the advice bit. It's more so that business owner type of thing that we were talking about. What a network does that I think is beautiful is gives that support in the early days. It's almost like we're going to support you getting started so that you can demonstrate when you get to, 10 years down the line and you maybe want to go DA, you can demonstrate that you've run that business on your own because you've had that support in the first place. So I think that's one part of it. The other part of it, again, is the community. The beauty of being with the network is you have other network members that you can call on and speak to and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a good point. And actually, I think people sometimes they enjoy a network and think then, the network is in control of me and they take over ownership. But actually, it's very opposite to that. Well, if you choose the right network, it's absolutely, of course.
I was going to say,
your business is your business.
Yeah.
Like, it's your brand. You're essentially outsourcing your compliance to the network, and they're taking on all your risks. So it's a no-brainer. You can focus on giving advice, but you have to choose the right one, and you have to get that sense of community is really important because in those early stages, I think when you're on your own, a biggest challenge I see is people are lonely.
Yeah.
There is a mental health aspect to it. They've got to get family on board, friends on board. They don't really understand what they're doing. And having people in the network around you who've done that journey, and obviously that's what you've built, is that network as well with the Verve Foundation, is those incubator delegates who get through it, they are helping each other as well, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Something you mentioned there, though, around like outsourcing the compliance, as much as that's great, and I think that people who are joining a network to stay in a network do that. If you've got any inkling that you're going to move on to DA in the future, don't just outsource it and forget about it, because the FCA are going to want to know that you can demonstrate that you understand that part of it. So anyone who's joined New Leaf, who's come through the incubator, is probably going to be really annoying because they're going to be going, but what are you doing? And what's this? And they'll be very inquisitive as to that side of things, because we always say to them, run your firm as though it's a DA firm.
That's
but
right.
The beauty and the reason I'm such an advocate for New Leaf is that you guys get it, and you do let these business owners run the firms that they want. There's no point in them sitting down, working out their vision, and then not being able to do that because of some parameters in some of the networks. And I'm not saying all of them, but
I completely concur what you're saying. And I think it's just that we don't own anything of theirs. The clients are theirs. If they leave New Leaf, they leave New Leaf. They take their clients with them. Yeah. There's no harm there. They're not going to lose anything. But you're right. It can be, some places can be restrictive, but it's just about asking the questions, like you say. And we need that challenge anyway. I love it. I love these people coming through the Verve Foundation asking us these questions. It's what we like. Yeah. I'm not the one answering it. It's all down to Sam Wallace.
Fine,
so it's even better. Imagine director. He's the one who has to deal with it.
Sorry, Sam.
So thanks for that. What would be the one piece of advice then that you give a budding new entrepreneur coming into the financial advice space? What would be something you tell them they need to do?
Does that have to be one?
No, whatever you want.
I'm not very good at that.
They probably need to have more than one, really, don't they?
So I think the overriding one is never underestimate how much money you're going to need behind you, particularly if you're coming from an environment where you have restrictive covenants and things like that, because you're not going to be able to approach your clients for a little while. You also need that time to build your business. So ensure that you've got some income, some savings behind you so that you don't have that pressure immediately. Equally, you don't want that pressure to take on clients that don't fit with your proposition that you worked so hard to build, just purely because you need the income coming in. So that's number one. Number two is to have a solid plan and stick to it. So really, so many advisors come to us and I say, have you got a business plan? They say, yeah. Where is it? Oh, it's in my head. No good. You need it written down. Right. But you need it written down, and you need to revisit that at least every year, even when you're established, to make sure that you're on track and to remind yourself why you're doing it in the first place. And that community piece. So make sure you've got other people around you that you can bounce ideas off of, who you can sit and you mentioned the mental health, the loneliness, to sit and just collaborate and connect with other human beings, because it's more lonely than I think people realise.
Yeah, that's definitely something that people don't take into account.
Yeah.
That if you're going from an employed role, even in a different industry entirely, and coming across to this role, you look at the numbers, you think, wow, I want some of that. That looks great. I want to help people and do.
Yeah.
This is really exciting. It's new, but then your diploma's done, your induction course is done, and then you're at home.
Yeah.
And the phone isn't ringing.
Right.
And you're thinking, hang on, what's going on here? That's a real, the mental change there is tough for people to take, for anybody to take. So I think you need to be very, like you said, resilient earlier.
Yeah.
Definitely need to be resilient. And it's not for everybody. I mean, this isn't, you don't have to, you could be an IFA or a financial planner and not have your own business.
Absolutely. Yeah. We see this on our Consider program quite often. Is that people will do it and then go, actually, I'm going to stay as an employed advisor, and they'll go off and they'll find the right environment for them. And I've always said to people, like, that's okay. That's a good outcome. Yeah. There's no pressure from anyone. Just explore what this might look like. And if it's not for you, fine. But you don't have to then make a mistake. You can explore this in this safe space and make your decision without making a leap.
No, we actually see that a lot in New Leaf as well, because we run an academy for new entrants, pre-AR status, so they'll join us. They'll be part of within the group to begin with, but on their own independent. And the idea is they build towards their own AR status. That's the plan. But a lot of that over the sort of course of 9 months to a year, that changes, because then they realise, actually, I want to be part of a team. Yeah. I quite enjoy. Now I've been to the events. I got on with that lady, that guy quite well.
Yeah.
They start chatting with other people, and they go, and that person said, well, actually, why don't you join my business? And they go, yeah, it could be a good idea, actually. And it's really cool how maybe mindset changes over time, but actually you're still doing what you want to do. You're no worse off. Yeah. It's just what's right for the right person. And having your own business is a big deal.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes people don't realise what's driving them to want to make that decision. Sometimes it's just that they're in the wrong environment, delivering the wrong proposition, not doing something that really aligns with their values. And sometimes they see the only way out of this is to leap and do this on my own. Whereas actually it might be joining forces with someone else, building that business together, or, going somewhere that's a better fit.
Just sort of going to a different direction. I'm interested in your views on technology. Just briefly, I know that you obviously talk to a lot of technology companies as well. You talk to your delegates. What do you feel the future is for financial advice?
I think that we have to embrace technology to make things more efficient, to make the cost of advice lower, so that we can serve more people effectively. Like, if I really boil this down to simplistic terms, I think the challenge is that advisors and business owners are like, oh, that's a new shiny thing. I'm going to go play with that and spend all my money on this. And they end up building this tech stack way too early for a start, because they maybe don't need all the bells and whistles to start with. So we kind of encourage people to look at everything, but maybe build it up as you go along. And almost like a reward. Oh, I've got 10 clients on board, so now I'm going to get whatever tech it is that I want. But you have to balance that with the efficiency. And when you're starting off on your own, you are doing all the admin and the power playing and all of that kind of stuff, unless you outsource or unless you get that support from your network. So it's a really delicate balance. And I think it's, again, getting into that mindset of using the tech that's right for you and works with your proposition, and not just going, ooh, new shiny thing and getting everything. But it's imperative, if we're ever going to make a dent in the advice gap, that we are using tech to make everything way more slicker and more efficient.
I love that. So the advice gap being something that could definitely be addressed. We just need companies to embrace that and not feel like it's still, I'd say, beneath them, but obviously they want margin. Yeah. But use technology to make margin, create it.
But that future wealth is coming through from the advice gap. It's coming from the accumulators. It's coming from the people that are going to get inheritances. So let's not drive them away. Let's use tech to embrace it and to serve them.
Where can people find out about the incubators then?
So Verve Foundation, if you Google it, lots will come up. Thankfully, our marketing's quite good. But in our website, it tells you all about the initiatives that we offer and how to apply for them and get in touch with us.
Brilliant. And I just been asking everybody this on our podcasts. Our tagline is, turning a new leaf in financial advice. So I'm interested to hear from you. What are you going to do in the future? What's the new leaf you're going to turn with the Verve Foundation?
I think we're going to maybe turn a whole tree.
Okay.
So our our kind of vision is to make all the change we can in financial services for the better. So we're just going to keep on this trajectory and changing as much as possible.
Brilliant. Fantastic guest today. Thank you, Hayley, for being part of the News podcast today. And can't wait to see what you get up to.
Cool. Thanks very much for having me.